to come on and share our experiences. Dylan and I were, because Dylan's a generation behind me, but we grew up collecting almost exactly the same. Dylan, tell us a little bit about how you got started in the hobby. What it was like for you back when you were little.
I know. I loved it, dude. First off, I'm like really excited. I just want to talk cards tonight and collecting, and I appreciate it. Cheers, John and Dan. A
Cheers.
surprise, Dan. We were saying in behind the scenes. Me and John text each other about you a lot because we really like your videos, and you say things as fact, like me, like this is fact, even if it isn't fact, it's fact in your own brain, and I love that. It's the passion, bring it. So, John, back to your question. I know where you're going with this too. You're leading me into a trap, but I grew up going
No,
to
not at all.
no, never. I grew up going to this card shop on my house called Baseball Cards Plus. This is once I got into baseball cards. I was probably 6. I think movie cards started first. That's how my genesis started. I believe I started with movie cards at the vending machines, moved up to the card stores after. And I was probably when I was 5 or 6 and, playing T-ball for the Reds. And we went to Lamppost, before I went to a card shop. So that's where the movie cards came in. Collected Goonie cards and Roger Rabbit cards through those machines. Then started going to Baseball Cards Plus, which to this day is still open. And it's as of about 3 months ago, they still have the exact same setup, same exact cases and everything. They gave away those cases like a month ago. And if I was in California still, I would have grabbed all of them and just set up a whole nother room. But so I started going to this card shop, and I went religiously every day. Me and my friends, we'd probably just like you guys, just like you, I know, John, we would ride our bikes, we would walk, we would rollerblade every single day to the shop. And we had to pass a busy street. So it was, if you're in California and you know how regular tract homes are, most places, if you live in a regular tract home, you have like every tract has like one elementary school in it, or at least one per every 2 tracts. But where I live, there's one per every, so it's a big tract. So one track over, then you cross a main street with lights, 4-way stop, and then another track area with another school. And my Baseball Cards Plus was right there. So my parents let us do everything when we were kids. Like probably unlike you guys, I was going to Jack in a Box with my friends when I was 6, 7 years old because it was on the corner of our street, across the street from the Westminster Mall. So I was going to that card shop, and not one single time my entire life did the guy ask me, like, are you interested in those vintage cards? Would you like me to tell you about some of these players? Would you like me to tell you about these cards? No, it was me walking in, going directly to the back case, not the one in front, the back case, and it had all the vintage cards. My first 52 Mantle Topps card I ever saw was at that card shop, is in those back cases. To this day, as of till they got rid of those things, every time I go back, the vintage is still on that shelf. Now, they do have some in the front now because it got more popular through the years. But I would go back there and I'd stare at them the whole time I'm in there. And at the end, I'd go up and I'd go, okay, I'll take those 2 packs. And then they'd have $1. He had a $1 row of vintage cards right on the front. He had 3 rows, and one was a vintage row, and they were $1. I'm guessing $1. It could have been a quarter. They're probably a quarter. But I would go through and I would pick one out every time. And then we'd buy packs of baseball cards from him. But he never made an effort to understand my collection or talk to me about collecting. Now, let me be fair to one guy who worked there for about a 5-year period, who was very kind. The owner was kind to me too, but he never made this effort. And this other guy that was there became a good friend of mine, but he also never taught me about vintage cards or anything. It was all on me. And so my whole life growing up, well, fast forward, John, all the way to high school when I got into grading. And the whole time before, I was just buying them raw. but not feeling like I was getting ripped off at all corners, at all edges. So I was very scared to buy like big cards. So I was buying cheap cards in those things, not spending big money. I could have saved up $10 and bought something sick if I would have not felt scared to talk to people. It could have been my fault. I would say that. Or these guys could have reached out. So I got into grading and graded my first card in the mid 90s, 96 to 99 is my guess. I graded
That was early.
Yeah, I was early. I was really early because I
That
already
was
knew
way
about
earlier
it.
than I graded.
Yeah, I already knew about it because I was still going to the card shop all the time. And I had one vintage card that was like cherry, and I got it for either when I was 10 or 12 years old for Christmas from my uncle, who's a big collector of. He has a motorcycle museum, but he also had a collection of 1963 Fleer cards, which I learned about later. I think he has a whole baseball card collection, which I haven't seen the whole thing. So I got this card from him, had it in a top loader or whatever in plastic. Okay, no different than grading. It was in plastic. You know, everybody talks about touching the cards. Well, I had this, kept it in perfect condition, sent it to PSA with 4 other cards. Still have most of them. The serial numbers all line up, and it got a 7. So from that moment on, I thought it was a Gemman 10. Thing was impeccable, right out of the pack. So I said, I'm going to buy. It was all about sharp corners. It was off-centered. I still have it, but that to me lit the fire and made it, as I always say, John, the great equalizer for everyone. And at that point forward, in the late 90s, I went full blown and started buying all the PSA 7s and 8s I could get my hands on these awesome cards that I've always dreamed about owning. And if you want to get into it now or later, I went through a phase where I thought, I'm like, I'm going to get ahead of the game. I'm going to buy all these big, giant cards. I'm going to keep them forever. And so I did that. And we both did that, John. And we both sold those off later because we were scared no one else was collecting. So that's like me in a nutshell. Sorry it took so long, but I knew,
No, that's all right. We wanted to hear the story.
Good.
Dan,
So
how did your beginnings begin?
So in the beginning, we had a local card store. We went there quite a bit, my friends. It was about like more. I'm from New York, but it's from upstate New York, Poughkeepsie, but in the country, more area. So we had to like ride our bikes about 5 miles to the card store. But when I first started collecting, it was probably early 90s, like 90, 91. It was right with Brian Taylor with the Yankees and Kevin Moss. I still remember I still have a binder full of Kevin Moss cards.
I chased him.
And I really, though, I went towards basketball in the beginning. So like 1992, that's when things were really out of control with all the brands coming out, like Fleer Ultra, Upper Deck. Like there's like probably like 10 different brands of basketball cards. And even like Classic, they had like the 4 Sports and all those, and I had all those. But I really just collected like Shaquille O'Neal and some of those players. And I really did that up until like 1996, until I graduated. When I went to college, I kind of stopped for a while and really didn't get back into it until just recently. But yeah, I collected Garbage Pail Kids. I still remember having those, going to Caldors and Walmart and Kmart back in the day there. And yeah, my wife actually, she collected as well with her brother during the time. So when I got all the cards, yeah, like with her brother, she has her prize card. I still have. She's probably gonna probably take it back. Is the Bill Ripken F face card. So she has, that was her big card, and she also has a She had a Will Clark card. So I have that in the MagPro with my autograph collection there. So she was a huge Will the Thrill fan. So,
well, it's funny, if I could interject for a minute. I met my wife over in Africa, and she lived in DC at the time, and I lived in Pittsburgh. So the first time I went to travel to see her, I went into her apartment, and she had a binder of baseball cards. I
Oh,
couldn't believe it. I'm
oh.
like, this is meant to be. She got into a little kick where she was going to a shop in Baltimore and or that area and buying cards, mostly Orioles, but she was buying all kind of cards. And she didn't have anything. It was like the early '90s, early to mid '90s era, and not, she didn't really have anything big, but she would go and they would tell her, ask what cards to get or whatever, and she would go to some of the Oriole games. She was a Brady Anderson fan. She thought he was cute, I guess. But
Dude,
I knew it was
this
meant
is
to
your
be.
wife. This is your
Yeah.
wife right now, dude. We've never heard that story. That's amazing. No wonder she's okay with you having these cards. She has that little memory in the back of her head.
I couldn't believe it. She was the first female I ever met who collected cards.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, so she had a whole binder filled with them. I still have them. And it's interesting because I had stopped in the '90s. 92 was the last year I had bought cards. So she had all the years right behind mine. So a lot of those I saw for the first time.
So what year did you rejoin again, John? I forget.
Yeah, so I rejoined really in 2001. My parents were moving, and I had all my cards stored there when I first got married. Just moved into my house, and all my cards were stored at my parents' house. And they were moving, so they called me one day and they said, "You need to come over and get all your cards. We're moving." And so I had always told my wife that I had a very large collection. Of course, she didn't realize how large. So we had a little ranch house, and she came home from work one day, and I had just gotten back with all my cards, and the entire living room was filled with boxes. And I always say I wish I had her face, her facial expression on video when she walked through that door, because her jaw literally dropped, and the look on her face was hilarious. And she's like, "What is all this?" And I said, "I told you I had a big collection." She's like, "I didn't realize it was this big."
That's insane. Hey
Yeah.
Dan, what does your wife think about your collection and collecting? You do talk
Um,
about it sometimes. I mean, you bring her up and stuff in your
so
videos.
she is
Very
completely fine with it because she has her own hobby of crafting,
okay.
and she took up the entire upstairs loft area. Like she has 3D printers, two of those Cricut machines. She does jewelry and things like that. So she has her hobby, I have mine. So there's no problems whatsoever. And if she
I'm the
ever,
lucky one.
yeah,
You guys both your wives have hobbies.
Oh yeah,
Dylan, you share your card room, right?
I do. This is her. This is actually she's the she's a business owner. So this is her half of her office. So I'm like, yeah, I have to schedule my dates with my
Yeah, I
cards.
was gonna bring that up. He's always texting us going, "I have a date with my cards tonight. I'm so stoked."
Yeah, and that's it. That's my time. I mean, I lay in here every day and look at my cards. She'll be working, and the TV folds up. This thing moves, slides open, and then the TV can pop through, and I'll throw a movie on while she's working, and I can play with my cards and do shorts and things like that. But yeah, I'm like full blown. Like tonight, I had to schedule this out early, and block out a good chunk. And yeah, you guys both have your own little areas. I do videos every day.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I get all the spare rooms to myself.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Now, Dylan, when you were growing up, did you have you collected with friends? We
Yeah,
always both we always both say we used to collect in obscurity,
yeah.
basically by ourselves. But did you have many friends?
Yeah, I mean, in the younger years, I did not collect in obscurity. I collected with the entire neighborhood,
Yeah.
everyone. I mean, and everywhere you went, you brought your box of cards to
Yep.
share, or your albums, or the main ones. When I started trading, every single card of mine was in a sleeve. It was whatever sleeve they were at the time. They had, I guess they call them card saver ones. Those are the first sleeves I remember really having, minus the 9 card sleeves. But when we were trading, that's what we'd bring over, only the ones in our sleeves. We wouldn't bring over our sets or anything like that. We'd only bring over those. So different generation maybe than you, John. And wait, Dan, how old are you? If you don't
40,
mind saying.
Yep. So I'm 47.
Oh, okay, yeah. So okay. So that's how I did it. Like we'd trade and I know a lot of guys are always talking about how, no raw cards, you want to feel them and hold them and everything. I mean, I've been touching plastic my entire life. I've always had my cards in plastic, except in the very beginning when I had them in rubber bands and in cigar boxes. And I vividly remember that, wrapping up 86 tops in those. But other than that, all my cards have always been in plastic.
Yeah, so I'm earlier, so I was a little kid in the '70s, and we used to flip them. But we had this game where we would put the cards up against a wall. We would stand on the other side of the wall, and we would throw the cards like a frisbee, and you got to keep all the cards that you knocked down.
Oh,
And it wasn't great for condition. Now, I did the same thing. I kept them in rubber bands, and we had these foot lockers too at some point, and you
yeah.
could keep them in there. And I had a big box, and I have a photo of it, a big giant box that all my cards were thrown in there, and that's how we did it. And then when conditions started to become a thing, and I remember when I first saw top loaders, they were like, I don't know if they had just come out, but they were new to me and my friends, and we would put the card right in the top loader. Like we never even saw penny sleeves. And then
Yeah.
of
Oh,
course
yeah.
the penny
Absolutely.
sleeves
No
came
penny.
out,
Yeah.
and we started using the penny sleeve and the top loader. And from that point on, every card I got stayed in the exact same condition that I got it in. And that's why in 2001, when my parents were moving out and I brought all my cards back, my cards graded pretty darn high. They were 7s, 8s, for the most part, 6.5s, which just shocked me. I had kept in really good condition. Dan, what were the first holders you remember using?
So
I
the
but
three
just to back up 1 second, I don't even remember seeing semi-rigids until I got back in the hobby in the early 2000s.
the three things that we used were the 800 card boxes, the binders with the 9 cards. You just put them in, right? They didn't have like top loader binders or anything like that. And I used penny sleeves and top loaders, right? So
Yeah.
those were the cards that were a little bit more expensive. And the same thing, I put those in there. And when I got back in the hobby, when I graded those cards, I was getting 9s and 10s on every single one. Even when all those top loaders, when they turned that disgusting yellow color,
The
right?
best.
They're all,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I wonder myself what year it was that I started using top loaders or card savers. I don't know, but I don't remember trading cards before having them. So I'm guessing had to be 1988, 89. Because we were definitely trading, and I was trading movie cards prior. So, but that was with an album. So that was a little different. That wasn't the same trading. Trading with
We
cards was with having the Beckett, which wasn't even the Beckett then. It was a different magazine, which High Grade, I think it was called. And we would look up the price. It'd be like, here's 10-cent cards, or these are this, and then you trade. The best trade is you get your guy, your sucker friend, and you get his dollar card for 10 of your crap cards. Did you guys like add up values when you were trading when you were a kid? Because we did. We put the cards there. We added up to a T.
That high grade that came in a baseball card collecting kit. I would buy any one that I saw, and you usually get sometimes a binder, you get sleeves, and so we had those. But I always kind of preferred to put them in, keep them individually. And I just wanted to clarify something. When I said my cards were grading, higher, 6s, 7s, 8s. Those were cards from the 50s and 60s. So my cards from the 80s were, pack fresh right out of there. But I never graded those.
Yeah. Hey, John, there's a couple of good comments. Dom said Dylan spent years opening packs and boxes, never touched cards. I touched cards, guys. I had to touch cards to put them in the plastic. As soon as I opened cards when I was a kid, and once those sleeves came out, and I was using photo albums before with the little sticky thing and that thing after the rubber band phase, so it was probably 87, right before the other. I was using those and putting them in, so they were getting peeled for sure. I just don't care about touching cards. That's the point, Dom. I don't care. I could never touch a card again in my life. I'll be fine holding the plastic with the card inside. It gives me just as much joy. That's a grind my gear moment. But yeah, there's some good comments, John. Can you read those things?
That's like how, only being interested in a woman over the internet.
I'm still touching cards. I grade my own cards, so I'm still touching them. It's not like I'm like, oh, it's just I want to get it in the sleeve as fast as humanly possible so I don't mess the card up. Like, I hate holding them. I actually don't like it because I'm like, I'm going to wreck it. I just want to put it in the sleeve and look at the Brian Taylor autograph card, 92. I just want it in here. It's like, I could give this to a buddy, toss it over to him, he can look at him.
Does anybody have any questions? I see everybody sharing their stories, which is awesome. Sharing their stories.
Can you pop those on the screen and stuff? Or we're going to teach you. Can you not see it?
You know what? I had to change the way I was going to do this. I'm actually looking at the comments on a different device. So
that's what I'm doing. Oh, gotcha. That's what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it on the
I was set up to use my computer, and my daughter came home, and it's a long story. So I'm on my phone. I can't bring them up.
I like Jayhawker Mike's one. They played home run when they opened packs. Whoever had the most home runs in the pack looks like they got all the cards. Yeah, that game you said, John, you throw cards and knock them down? Yeah. Dude, that's pretty epic. That didn't make it over to my parts. That would have been a blast.
Well, that's a very old game. So I was with, what's the channel name? Stars of the Diamond. At the National, I was buying some Z-Nuts off of him. And he had this Paul Wainer I really wanted. And it was beaten up, and it had rounded corners. And he was explaining to me that it was very common back in those days, way back then, that they would round the corners, and they would sometimes even add tape so that they could throw it better.
Wow.
So that game is pretty much as old as cards are. And wow. I never knew that.
That's pretty epic.
I wanted that Paul Wainer just for that, but it was pricey. And I didn't want to pay that for it, but.
Oh, well, let me ask you a question about that, John. What your thoughts are, Dan? You too. So when we see some of these vintage cards, especially the older ones that have perfectly symmetrical rounded corners, I always wonder how in the heck are they so perfectly rounded? A lot of the Gaudy ones, why is it so perfect? Maybe it was because, like you said, they were rounding them all to make them all. I don't know. I've always wondered that. Why are some so perfectly rounded? You think it's like my day and age is like one corner was dinged or this was
yeah.
But some I buy, they're like perfectly rounded.
Yeah, they all seem rounded in the same way. I don't know, but that was common for them to kind of do that.
That's crazy. I never heard that before.
Dan doesn't have any rounded corner cards, do you, Dan?
No, he's a sharp corner guy.
Maybe I.
Yeah. Wait. He has the 52 Wheaties. Those are rounded corners.
Oh yeah, he does. That's like his favorite set.
Right.
Okay.
And the 51 tops.
I got something for you guys. So. Oh wow! Look at that thing. Yeah, look at that round, perfectly rounded.
Yep. No idea how they got those rounded.
Jayhawker. Mike says that he reached out trying to buy that Paul Wainer after he saw my video, but he had already sold it. Yeah, he wanted it was like over $600 for that thing, and I guess it's a rookie card or pre-rookie card of Paul Wainer. So great, I'd love to have the card, but it had like a little paper loss, like kind of on him, and all the rounded. I just didn't want to pay that much for it, but I like the story as much as the card.
I pulled a card, Paul Wainer card 1933 Gaudi out of a 2006 or 2007 Upper Deck Gaudi, like out of a pack. And I didn't know. I still barely know who he is. I didn't know he was even. I didn't know he was even good then. All I did was after I pulled the card back in 2006, is I looked it up in the back of it.
Well, you know, being growing up in Pittsburgh, I always heard of Paul Wainer.
Okay.
I mean, super excited. The first one I ever got of him was 1936 Gaudi. I was so excited to have any card of him. And you know, I didn't even know until much later that Paul Wainer has the highest batting average in Pittsburgh Pirate history, even higher than Hannes Wagner.
Wow, I would have picked Clemente for that because of his.
So Chris from Missouri says that they get rounded when you gather them up like playing cards.
Ah, yeah.
Which makes sense. If you're constantly gathering them up, putting them out, gathering them, that makes sense. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, hold on. I got something for you guys here. Okay, a little trivia for you guys. So I was back to our story on, I was selling cards. I have boxes of these receipts from eBay from the past. So this one just happens to be 2001. So trivia is, in 2001, how much did I sell a 1989 Donruss? And the chat, answer this too, as we're reading the chat. 1989 Donruss Ken Griffey Jr. in a BGS 8.5. How much did I sell that for? And then I'll find a sick vintage card after that one.
$30.
Dan?
Wait, what year?
His rookie, 89 Donruss.
No. What year did you sell it?
Oh, in 2001.
Oh, 2001?
Yeah.
$35.
I'll go 25. 25.
All right, let me see the chat. Lonely Basement, you win and Chris win. $13.51.
Oh,
That's
wow.
pretty sick, yeah. Hold on, let me get some vintage cards that'll blow your minds. Let's see. Oh, is that the Michael Jordan rookie? Nope. I know I have a few of those in here somewhere in one of these boxes.
You have Michael Jordan rookie?
Well, I sold them. I sold them probably in probably 2004 or 6.
Because you have zero basketball cards, right?
No, I have some that I opened.
You do?
I have some Kobe rookies, and I have probably 1,000 Michael Jordans right below me in sleeves. I just don't know what to do with them. Thought about
Dan, you mostly collected basketball first, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah, I have a lot of, like, Shaquille O'Neal was the big one. And when I stopped collecting, that was like Kobe Bryant. Let's see. This was my favorite card growing up. This is not the one, but I had tons of these. I graded tons of these. And it's really what funded a lot of my collection. I just kept on buying these. I got 10s on like 5 of these from PSA. And I was selling them for like $500 a piece after spending like $30 with the card and grading.
Interesting. So Dylan and I want to. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Nope. Go. Charge it.
Dylan and I, we were both the same way years ago, where when we had a really expensive card, we didn't feel comfortable holding it because we didn't know if cards were going to be worth anything in the future. Were you ever like that, Dan?
No, it's for that, like, it was never a losing type thing for me. I probably should have kept some of my 10s, but it really was. I was just buying the same cards over and over and over again, just like the Don Mattingly rookie for the tops. I mean, I must have bought 50 of those and graded those and sold those. And I mean, all the, like, they just look nice from vending boxes and things like that. They were all graded 8s and 9s. And yeah, it wasn't really like, even if I got 10s on cards, right? The cost of the card wasn't anything. I kept a lot of them, but yeah, it wasn't anything that like I was worried about the price.
You both still sell a lot of cards, right? You always have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question. I got another trivia. This basketball card, okay? Basketball card, 2002. Okay. In 2002, I sold a PSA 10. Oh, we'll use a different. Same year, 2002. I sold a Kobe Bryant finest rookie PSA 10. How much did it go for? I sold like 6 of them. They're all in a row. How much? Chat, how much? Kobe Bryant rookie in a PSA 10 in 2002. Finest.
In 2002.
$30.
I 19.
$130. And there's
Really?
Yeah, quite a few of them in here, and some all the way up to 160. All right, let me give you a question for a vintage card since we're going in
just
the past
just to point out, Kobe Bryant cards did not sell for very much until after he died.
Yeah, agreed.
They really blew up.
Well,
I mean, I had Kobe Bryant cards, and if you were shopping for them, you didn't have to pay a lot of money for them.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm going through these, a lot of cards have gone down a lot, and some have gone up a lot. Here's a.
Hey, wait a minute. Okay, after this, I would be curious to know which ones you have there that went down a lot. That would be interesting.
Oh yeah, I got some sick ones that are like $1 now. Okay, and they're like 100 then. All right, chat, you'll love this. This is a vintage card, a big vintage card. Okay, in 2002, Johnny Bench rookie card, 1968 rookie card, PSA 8. How much did it sell for?
$90, $80.
Okay, Dan.
I have no idea. Like, I would say probably 70.
Okay, hold on, chat. Speak them through. I want to hear Chris. That's his guy. 75.
I was thinking 72.
All right.
That card has always been undervalued.
You guys are way under. $210 even back then.
No way.
Yeah, 210. You know, that's a probably $1,300 to $1,500 card now. But that's not that much. It's like that was 23 years ago. It's not like it's skyrocketed. If it was a 9, it probably would have skyrocketed. It's still huge, right?
Well, cards were kind of flat for like a decade.
At least a decade.
And then they just blew up. Like you knew you could get a decent looking Sandy Koufax rookie for $350 for like a decade, and like it never moved. And then all of a sudden, that same card is worth $3,500.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you want one that has gone down more than any? I mean, I don't even have to look at the other ones because this one just popped out at me.
I think it would be fun to see the ones that are actually worth less today.
Dude, this one is worth.
They would have to be players that didn't pan out.
Yeah. No, this is not a pan. This will be. I have another one. 2 interesting ones here. This one was from 2002. I sold it, and it was Jason Giambi's Topps update rookie card in a PSA 10, and this must have been during his prime time. Let's hear it, chat.
Yeah, he was very hot.
PSA 10 base card, rookie card. Basically.
I don't ever remember that being super expensive though.
Oh,
but you know what?
Expensive.
I didn't deal in graded cards back then, so I have no idea. I was shocked that one sold for over 200.
That's crazy, huh? Dan?
I would say 120.
Okay. All right, chat. All right.
What do we have here?
We got 240, Ruben Snyder 95, Carlisle 214, Mark Messner 225, Staven, I think 150. I couldn't read. I got something.
It's 150, yeah.
Okay. Actually, Dan. Oh, let's see. Oh, Rick's not answering. Dan, you were the closest. $117.
Wow.
So that card is worth less than $10 today. His PSA 9, I remember because I didn't keep any of those. I sold all of them because that was it was like a joke. So I got rid of all those. But years later, the 9s were like $1.95 on the pit, John. So I bought one, and I still have the one I bought from the pit for $1.95.
You know what? I have. I actually would buy cards from the pit.
Oh, is it?
And best? I still have cards sitting there that are absolutely worthless.
Me too.
Like
I know which ones you have.
There was a Pirate. I think he was a number 1 pick. He was a pitcher, Brian Bullington. So I was
That is
buying his
hilarious.
cards, and I bought one on the pit. It's still sitting there. Like they weren't worth the shipping to have them shipped. So I don't even know what my account is or anything, but I have some cards sitting there that are worthless, like players that never panned out whatsoever. I
Yeah, I
had the
have the
one,
same ones.
I had the good ones sent to me. Like I had I bought an Albert Pujols rookie, the Topps Chrome there, or
Oh yeah,
Top. I think it's just Tops.
the E tops one, the E tops. Was it E
No, no, no,
tops?
no, the
Okay.
regular Tops.
Oh, okay. You just had it on
It's
there.
either Tops or Tops Chrome. I don't know. It was a PSA 9, and I bought that back then. I probably, man, that thing was probably 15, $20 at the time.
Well, John, the
Maybe
pit,
not even that.
I bought like 50 plus Otani rookies on the pit back in
Did
when he
you?
got hurt. $1.50 each rookie cards. I still have them. I just gave one to Lou Rock. It's sitting on my desk. The Bowman one, they were $1.50 each.
They
And I
all had to
bought
be graded
56
on
of
there,
them.
right?
No, no, they had raw. They had raw cards too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they're still
I
there.
thought they were all graded.
They're still open. You can still go on there.
Is that right?
Yeah, still there. It's crazy.
That was
Yeah.
the first. That was the first website or entity that I remember that treated cards like a stock market, where they would have
100%.
Yeah.
The cards that I sold that are in this book, most of them, almost all of them, are from the pit originally, because no one knew about the pit back then. And you list, in this case, a 1961 Hank Aaron PSA 7. They just have a photo of one card, and they'd have like, oh, we have 10 of them, and you could just buy them, and then you'd sell them on eBay, and they'd get way more money than on the pit, because no one really knew about the pit. For whatever reason, they were cheaper for a good about 5-year window until people kind of caught on.
Now,
But
did you see the cards you were buying? Because my recollection is you would just buy kind of like the grade.
no,
You'd be
you
like,
buy the
you
grade.
just buy
Exactly.
it.
They have one photo,
Yeah.
and like that Johnny Bench PSA 8. They have one photo, and they have how many are available in that price, or you can offer another price, right? And so you buy it, and then I would have them shipped to my house because I was selling them right after. I get them, I'd list them, and then I'd sell them on eBay for X more. So you wouldn't know where you were getting. But back then, centering meant nothing. So even in my listings,
You were just buying the grade.
I never used the actual photo of the card I owned. I just used a PSA 8, any old Johnny Bench PSA 8 back then. No one once ever complained or said anything. I never even knew. I was literally just buying the grade off the pit, selling the grade on eBay for a good 6 years. That's, a good 6 years there. That's, to me, the difference between today's collecting and even just a few years ago. Eye appeal is totally new. Whether some people were into centered cards back in the day, it's different. It is totally a new world that we live
you would just buy that slab.
That's it, man.
You and I were talking about, like, we would buy vintage cards in a 7. Like, that's what we would target. They looked perfect, and they were way less than a 9 or an 8.
Okay.
And we didn't pay that much attention, but back even before that, you didn't pay that much attention. Like, if you could find these cards, because you couldn't just go on eBay and find any old card like you can now, or like you could in the when eBay came out. Before that, if you were at a shop or a flea market or whatever, and you saw some old card, you just bought it, and you weren't that picky, And then when grading came out, they were grading, 7s, 8s, and they didn't look good. But we didn't even know at the time, because you just didn't pay that much attention to that. Now, as time has gone on, people are so particular about every nook and cranny detail of the card now, and it's just a completely different vibe, right?
It is. It is. You know what? Would you guys want another one? I got a good one. Another one. I got one that's okay. So this one's interesting. It's cool because this is, to me, I don't know. I'm fascinated by this stuff. I haven't looked at these in a long time. In 2002, this is one that's stayed exactly the same. Okay. But during when I was selling these, this was, prime time for this guy, or close to it anyways, give or take some years, but before the news of steroids came out. 2002, PSA 7 Mark McGwire tops in a PSA 7. Number 401. How
Oh
much did
man,
sell
that was
for?
one of the hottest cards at the time.
Yep.
I'll say 120.
Okay. Dan,
PSA 7?
PSA 7.
No, that's got to be like 30, $40.
It's $32 then. $32. It's probably $15 to $20 now. An 8 you can get for. So it's gone down. You know, all the base cards in this whole thing have pretty much all gone down, which is, you know, gone down or stay the same. All the Barry Bonds rookies I'm looking at. Okay, here's a good one. Last one, K. John. I won't take over your show after this. Last one. Okay. In 2001. Okay. Hot commodity. Right out of the gates. Rookie card. Ichiro Suzuki BBM rookie in a PSA 9. Sold it in 2001.
Man.
Sold it in 2001.
That probably wasn't that popular back then. I don't even think American collectors knew BBM.
Ichiro came out. Yeah, you're right there for the card. This was definitely purchased on the pit.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying Ichiro. I'm saying the Japanese card.
Yeah, this was on the pit. Yeah, I sold it on eBay.
I have no idea. The one thing I've proven is when I say that I don't follow prices of cards.
Yeah, you definitely have proven.
You could tell I don't.
Yeah,
I never really did.
On. Yeah, well, because you don't sell cards.
Yeah, even when I did, I mean, I would know what they were worth if I was selling them or buying
in the moment.
That's the only time I really know value of cards.
But still, John, I don't believe that in a sense. Like, I bet you if I threw I don't know, maybe not, because you haven't looked for like a regular Topps card in a long time.
If it's something I've shopped for, Dylan, I'm going to have some idea.
Yeah.
Or if it's something similar to cards I bought, I'm going to have some idea just because I buy a lot. But some of them just shock me, some of these prices. Like either to the downside or the upside, both, because I just don't follow it.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, okay. Well, so I'll tell you the price. Everyone in the chat, you know, Steven's way off. Dom's way off. Classy. Dane's almost spot on. Ruben's almost spot on. 152. I think that card's worth more now. I don't know off the top of my head if I'm guessing 350 to 500. I'm guessing. But that's not that bad. Like, in 24 years, now I feel better. Like, I actually might want to go buy this card because I've sold numerous ones in here, and I always told myself to keep one, and I just never did for very long. So now I'm seeing the price. Yeah, you know what?
Well, you know, that's for people who invest or buy the cards and want them to hold their value. That's always the danger when you're buying players who are still playing. You know, Jason Giambi was hot as hell when he was playing, but he was good for a short stint, and then the steroid thing hit, and you just never know. You have other players who played pretty long. You would think they were going to be, you know, worth something forever, and they're not. Because in the overall realm of things, if they didn't play, you know, they didn't have a 10-year span that they were phenomenal and they don't get into the Hall of Fame and you thought they were, like they fizzled out earlier. Like a Don Mattingly, for instance, the best player in baseball, had several years where he was just unreal. And then you would have never dreamed he wasn't going to be in the Hall of Fame. Never, watching him play. Or even if you were loading up on Dave Parker cards in the 80s, everybody thought he was going to be a Hall of Famer, I think, and didn't happen for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, when you look back, like in the 70s, those, like, Yount was worth way more back then. And George Brett, you know, I mean, I guess the
hobby just doesn't care about Robin Yount. And quite honestly, aside from his rookie card, they never did.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable. I think it was the market he played in, because I don't ever remember being able to watch him play, to be honest with you, growing up.
Yeah, I never seen him play in my life.
And never saw Brewers games on TV. It was always the Yankees or the Reds and the Dodgers. That was I got a lot of Reds and Dodgers games, I recall. Dan, you started off with basketball. What was the next sport you started collecting, and when did that happen and why?
Well, no, it was all kind of together. So for the basketball, I was so Rick Smits is my like PC. I'm just throwing away money with that right now. So I got binders and binders full of cards there. But in Poughkeepsie there, Marist College. So he went there, small little college. And so I really followed basketball with the Indiana Pacers, but I really was a big New York Yankees fan, but my dad was a New York Mets fan. So we went to Shea Stadium a lot, Yankee Stadium. I still remember the old timers game going through the Monument Park and everything like that. So that was like, and I did have a lot of like vintage for me back then. So like like the 70s, early 80s, like the Ricky Henderson cards. I could never afford the rookie card, but I had like a beat up 1981, but I didn't care, right? Because I had the card. But yeah, it was all about the same time. So, but yeah, the majority of the stuff I have, like from my collection, was a lot of basketball from like 1991 to 94. Like I was putting together sets. I think everybody in that time put together like that. Was it the
Yeah.
1992 score set? The one that had all the Bo Jackson cards, like the
I don't
Bo
know.
Breaker.
There was a big thing going around YouTube that we didn't put sets together back then. We just chased the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie.
I didn't put sets back together, so it was accurate in my mind.
Dan, you
Yeah,
put sets together.
I put a bunch of sets, like just opening wax and going through. I remember going through uh the big boxes, like the 5 rows of just going through the cards and just getting the cards to complete the set, trying to find those commons. So yeah, I put together quite a bit of sets from like 1987. Well, they made so many of those cards, you could just
Yeah.
probably go through dumpsters and put that set together.
Okay, in the chat, yes or no? Did you collect sets in the old days, or still do? Yes or no? Just yes or no, so we can get a count.
Look, to be fair, make it clear that you were like a set collector. Because I put a couple sets together, but I was not a set.
Well, what
builder.
is a set collector? I mean, if you put together 5 sets, are you a set collector?
Look at all these yeses. I'm getting punished. They're punishing me.
No, I legitimately want to know. I
They're
legitimately
banishing
want to
me
know.
from the community, John. Why did you do this? They're telling
Because
me
in
I gotta go.
1989, I have absolutely no recollection of people just chasing one card. I have no record. I mean, of course we chased the hot rookie card every year, or the hot rookie cards. I remember in '81 chasing Mookie Wilson. Shout out to Mookie, and Tim Raines, and hell, even Leon Durham. We chased him. Fernando in
Harold
Pittsburgh. We
Baines.
chased Tony Pena. You know, that's funny because we never chased Harold Baines until after he was elected into the Hall of Fame. And then everybody was going back and saying, oh, man, do I have his rookie card?
Same thing with Lee Smith, right? That was 1981.
Yeah.
Or was that 82?
82. Lee Smith
82.
was 82.
Dude, I couldn't think of a more boring thing to do when I was a kid than put my cards down and put them in order of numbers. I could care less about a manager's card coming out of a pack and a random guy coming out of the pack. That guy was straight to the spokes or straight into just the box. I was never a set builder. I guess I had one friend that was a set builder in my entire like card community world when I was a kid. There weren't their whole family built sets, so it's not even fair because it was like the adults got involved. But in my world, it was like all we cared about was Wally Joyner out of the 87s and all the stars. Jose Canseco.
Well, when I was like in grade school,
I
wasn't chasing sets. I mean, once you got older and kind of knew what you were doing,
was like 7, 8, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like I started out building sets, but I started building sets when I was young, though. When I was young, because we would go and walk to the store in the summer, like every day, grab whatever quarters we could get to buy our packs, and we'd end up with a whole box and be like, hey, let me see if I have the set. And then once I put one together, I wanted to put them all together. Chris from Missouri, You said you chased singles in 1989. Who did you chase?
Yes. Thank
Who
you.
did you chase? Because he said he chased singles.
Greg Jeffries, 89. It's got to be Greg
Did you
Jeffries.
just chase one card? Is that all you wanted? And did you sell it as soon as you pulled it from a pack? I'd be curious to know that. Like today, you pull a card, you pull a big card. Let's face it, a card, one of one Paul Skeens. That thing's going to auction so fast.
Oh, so fast.
No matter any of us collectors pull that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a lottery ticket.
It's insane.
And for a lot of people, any hit they're selling every hit, and that's what they're chasing. But I don't ever remember that back in the 80s or even the 90s. I remember, when I got back into collecting in 2001, they were already doing that thing where they were throwing away the base cards, and they were going after.
Absolutely.
They were already doing that.
Wait,
that's been going on for a long time.
What year did you say, John?
When I got back in 2001, 2, 3.
Oh, yes, exactly.
They were already doing that stuff.
100%. Everybody, I'm so glad you said that, because I don't understand this whole concept of like it's a new thing. I remember going to card shows, going to Frankenson's during the 2000s for like, a good 8-year stretch, and there were many guys doing pack rips right on the table, and the base cards went straight off into the trash or into a pile. They're just that's always been a thing, and this gambling and this hobby has always been there. I mean, guys at the card shows, I don't know where, if anyone thinks differently, they didn't go to card shows back then. I went to card shows in the 2000s, and people were ripping packs and throwing away the base cards and going for hits only and spending money that they didn't have, doing the exact same thing. Just same exact thing as going on today.
Yeah, I want to touch on that. But Chris from Missouri says he was chasing Hall of Famers. I was talking about new cards out of packs. Yeah, that's what I chased. I chased old vintage. They didn't have to be Hall of Famers, but players I knew. And I knew a lot of players growing up, because all I did was read about baseball and listen to my dad tell me the stories. So that was first and foremost, without a doubt. If I went to a card shop, I went to my flea market, I was going after old vintage cards of old players. I was talking about opening new packs.
Did you guys
Chris, did you open new packs just looking for certain cards? I'm just curious. And Dylan, I wanted to touch on that. I don't know what it is about the YouTube community, but they seem to think that everything's brand new. Back to the point we were talking about. Like shill bidding all of a sudden blew up. We've been getting ripped up. No, we've been getting ripped off for decades with that. And as far as like the pit, that was a stock market for cards back in 2001 or whatever.
People think when someone comes up with that's a new idea. It's been around.
And throwing away singles, they've been doing that for decades at this point. We're talking, most of this stuff has been going on for at least 2 decades.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Every time something comes up, it's like it's a new thing, but it's dude. I mean, the only thing, I mean, dude,
I remember being so appalled.
Everything.
I remember being so appalled going to the card shop, and a guy would like go through the cards, and he'd either throw them in the garbage or he would throw them to the shop owner and say, "I don't want these." Yep. And it was I was so appalled by that when it was happening. Because I mean,
was never appalled. I was never appalled by anything like that. I never bothered me. It never did. They're not my cards.
What you have to understand about me is I got back in 2001, so I missed the whole 90s when this shit started to happen.
Yeah.
So it was brand new to me. It's like grading cards. It was brand new to me. I didn't know they were around. That was the first time I was seeing that. So imagine when I got back in 2014. All the crazy newer cards, like I needed a whole new education, and I delved in and I just started buying stuff, and that's how I learned. But imagine somebody coming in during COVID, and they hadn't been collecting since the early 2000s. I mean, it mind blown. Or if they hadn't been collecting since the 90s, really mind blown. Like the whole hobby was different. Dan, did you ever take any time off from collecting?
Decades. Yeah. So No, so like from 1996 to 2020. And kind of with that, like set collecting for me, like was up to 1992. And I think the reason for that was they had a lot of, there was really no big hits to chase in the packs and things like that. So, like, you put sets together because you weren't searching for that insert. And really, the
Yeah,
inserts, I think, really changed the hobby, right? And like, here's like a card that I pulled, and this is the Leaf Limited. And I still remember, I think these are like $4 or $5 a pack in 1994. And these are numbered like out of 10,000. And when I pulled this, it was like a big deal, right? In the
yeah,
card shop. Like people haven't seen that card. And but and that shows you how much crap they were making, right? I mean, out of 10,000, and that was
yeah.
kind of rare.
That was super rare in that era. It was like you rarely ever heard of someone pulling an elite card that was like mythical, you know,
Well,
that
I
was
remember
10,000.
pulling. Upper Deck started the stamp. They started to do the gold number stamp. Like 10 out of 50, and the card would look exactly like
Yeah.
the base card, but just the only thing that was different was the stamp. And I remember when they started that, I thought that was the dumbest stuff because how can it only be to 50? It looks exactly like the regular card. It just doesn't have the stamp. And I used to
That's
sell those things because I hated looking at the number. Quite honestly, when they first came out, I thought that number on the front of the card was ruining it. Like put it on the back or something. But I would have the same card. I'd have one numbered and one not numbered, and the one numbered would sell for a fortune, and then unnumbered one nobody really wanted.
that's probably the hardest thing to explain to a non-collector, even to a lot of the vintage collectors, why it makes sense that that card that is stamped numbered is worth more. It's almost unexplainable other than the fact that it's just a different rare thing.
Well, I
That's it.
get it if it's a different card. If the card
Yeah,
itself is numbered to 50. But these cards looked identical.
I know
One
what
would
ones
have
you're
a
talking
gold
about. Yeah.
stamp and one wouldn't.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know. That just never excited me. What do you think, Dan?
It kind of in the 90s, that's what we did, right? I mean, and when I got like for my Smith's PC, I just getting the different versions, even if they're very subtle difference, like I enjoy having them. Um, Actually, this is a bigger card that I bought here. Um, I got this in a Mag Pro. This is a Joker rookie there. I like the Revolutions a lot better. I think everything's backwards, but this is actually the Cosmic. It's out of 100, right? So kind of
Yeah.
silly. It looks a little bit different, but that's kind of like my thing. I just
Well,
want to
I
like,
don't think that's silly. I mean, I don't think that's silly. I
John,
was talking about
what's the
cards that
difference
look
between
identical.
what's the difference between that and the 69 Mickey Mantle with white letters? One stamped with white, one stamped with yellow, one stamped with the gold numbered. It's the same thing. It's a variation that deserves respect.
Yeah, I know you
Because
make
there's
that
not a lot.
argument. I don't. It's very different to me.
I mean,
But,
it's not like you're arguing against them. I get what you're saying.
well, the
it's
white
not
the
like
white
they're
letter
not that much
mantle
cooler
wasn't. It
looking.
wasn't meant to be white letter. First of all,
True. Well, what about the 58th? Were those meant to be different colors or were they not? I have no idea.
they weren't meant to be. No,
Okay.
those are variations that were discovered.
Okay. I didn't know.
And then yeah, so and then some of the one color is just way more rare than the other one. So yeah, it's similar, no doubt. It's similar.
But
It's just
not
it
on
wasn't
not on
meant to
purpose.
be. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people, when you get into, manufactured scarcity versus organic scarcity, people have strong opinions on which one they prefer. Most people do. And I can't explain it, but to me, it's very different. It's just very different to me. I don't know why. But I can understand if it's not different to you too.
To me, it's the same.
Right.
And I'm not, and you guys know, my channel's name's Double D Vintage Baseball Cards, but I did open boxes all through the 2000s. And so I've always enjoyed that scarcity factor of those serial numbers. That's why I open boxes.
During the
understood it.
Yeah, during the early 2000s, I probably put 30 sets together, maybe more, of all
Wow.
sports.
Wow.
I collect all sports. I put the golf sets together, put baseball, football, hockey, basketball, or at least near sets. I was real into set building back then, and I would buy up all the new product. I would get the Tough Stuff magazine, and I would look through there for the new releases, and I would pick out the ones that I liked, and I couldn't wait for them to come out. Now I don't even know what's coming out. I have no clue. There are
Yeah,
so
it's
many,
crazy.
I can't even keep
Crazy.
track. There's no magazine I can look at that tells me what's coming out anymore. Uh, and so I
Okay.
don't even know where you find that information. The funny thing I find about social media and our modern television is the more channels I have on TV, the more I could pull up on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, the more I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
there's all these choices, and I never know what's on. And back when you didn't have so many choices, you always knew what products were coming out. You knew what game was on, which game was on TV. Now you really have to go looking.
All right, hold on, John. This is a good discussion right here. Dan loves this stuff too. So, Bear Cards made this point. This is a lot of what the vintage community said. A lot of people say this, non-vintage too. What's crazy is how many variations, both numbered and non-numbered, are out there now. It's insane. So a lot of people, they're printing too much. There's too many variations. What's so special about all these variations? They're all going to be worthless. Look at what they don't. I think anyone that says these are all going to be worthless maybe isn't looking at the market now because they're already worthless. The ones that are worthless, like Dan's video today talking about how he thinks the Kaboomies are going to be worth a lot in the future because they're collected now and people are nostalgic. Different conversation. I disagree. But these like random parallels, random hot dog parallels, these random, all kinds of parallels. They're there because otherwise a kid's going to open a box of retail and not get a single special weird looking card. And if I'm opening a retail box, a blaster box, and I get nothing but the base cards, I would be bored to death. And it's like, I'm not in 1987 anymore. The Pandora's box been open. I liked it then. I don't want it now. So
Yeah.
if they have to print more parallels because they're printing more products, I don't care. And when you pull a Halloween parallel or a 1 out of 2075 doggy bone parallel, it's worthless now. It's $5 on the internet. It's gonna be worthless later. It's gonna be worth $5 later. But there's still value in the ones that have history, the ones that have been around a long time and have this deep connection. Blues, greens, reds. It's not hard. And everyone thinks it's so confusing and difficult. And it isn't. In like with Dan's point of the Kaboomies, he could say that the same thing about gold parallels. Oh, everybody collects gold parallels, so those are going to be worth the most in the future. And I could and he could parallel that with the Kaboomies being worth the most now and they're worth the most in the future. Me, I look at it as the Kaboomies are one in per case hit, right? Whereas a gold or a green parallel, even if the green says it's out of 200, you go 200 times how many cards are in the set? 600 cards in the set. That's one in every like 1,200 packs. It's way more than a case. So to me, those they're calling them true golds, true greens, true reds. Those are the future. Those are the rare ones when you get the player you want. To me, the parallels are printed in numerous numbers because it makes the hobby fun for people opening packs. And yes, they'll be worth nothing in the future, but they're worth nothing now. The golds aren't worth that much now. They're not going to be worth billions more later. They're worth $100, $50 to $80 for a Mike Trout gold, true gold out of 50 and a Topps Chrome. It's not a lot of money, and it's not going to go to zero, and it's not going to go to 1 million. But that's my for like to the question of like all these different parallels and the rarity versus what's the vintage natural scarcity versus manufacturer scarcity. That's to me, it's the same. Everyone focuses on these crazy parallels, but no one's actually, everyone understands it who understands it, right? They understand that these other weird parallels aren't worth anything, but they're still cool to pull. And Topps knows that.
It's all about what you want, what you like, what you want to collect, what you're into. Everybody's into different things. That's all.
It's more than that, John. It's not about what everyone likes. It's like the beauty.
You're a little fired up about this,
dude. The beauty isn't in the eye of the beholder. It isn't. The beauty, when you look at a card, okay, this goes to that, okay. All golds look great, okay. You go to vintage. Beauty is not in the eye of the beholder. You get a PSA 7, 1961 Topps Mickey Mantle. The best looking one is going to be the sharpest cornered, most centered, perfect card. PSA 10, okay? I will never argue that's not the greatest looking card. That is not the off-centered stuff is becoming worth less. You know, I'm going way off tangent, but the off-center stuff's worth less now because
you want a petty minute? You want a petty minute? Go ahead.
I want a petty 5 minutes. Because the beauty is not in the eye of the beholder. The beauty is in the eye of the market. The overall market is deciding the most beautiful cards in vintage and in modern.
Well, wait a minute. You're talking if you're selling.
I'm just talking.
If you want a card for your collection, exactly. All that matters is what you think of it.
100%. But I want to. This is why vintage cards, the off-centered ones, are becoming worth less because they're not as beautiful as the center one. But the most important thing of the whole thing is they're like the base cards of the cards today. They're common. And even the sharp cornered ones are common. There's 1,000 PSA 7s in most all vintage cards, you know, in the 60s and 70s. And the centering is the rarity that divides.
Now, do you think it's the centering because you brainwashed everybody?
No, no, I did nothing. And many people can disagree. But the reason those other ones are coming down is that's where the scarcity comes in for me. It's the scarcity of the vintage, the natural scarcity. Is that what we call it? It's called natural scarcity versus
we call it organic is usually
organic the term scarcity versus manufactured scarcity.
See, I look at manufactured scarcity as like a Cabbage Patch doll or something that was meant to be a collectible. Like in the old days, they had Mark McGuire plates and they were numbered 1 to 1,000, stuff like that. That's the way. Because growing up and even when I was older in collecting before they started all this stuff, I never wanted stuff that was trinkets that were made to be collectible. You know what I mean? Even though cards were made to collect, they weren't made to be worth money. There weren't people doing TV commercials and infomercials saying, "Oh, there's only going to be 1,000 of these Mark McGuire plates, and you need to get them because they're going to be worth so much in the future." Go.
Okay. No, I love that, John. That's the biggest argument. That's like Greg always brings it up, the argument. Like if it's made to be a collectible, it shouldn't be worth anything. But cards were meant to be collectibles over the last, since at least 1978 and beyond,
Well, they weren't made to be valuable collectibles. No. That's the difference.
Okay, fair enough. Dan, I know you're pent up over there. I want to hear some. I want to hear your hand. Pretend you're just doing hand video and let them flow. Let them flow.
Let's hear it, Dan. This is the good stuff right here.
No, that sums it up right there. Is if something's meant to be a collectible, it's not. And I think it's just plain and simple as that.
It can't be plain as simple as that because you're buying the cards right now that are meant to be collectibles.
That's not true. They were called trading cards. They were meant to be traded.
Okay.
They're called flipping cards now. So, but yeah, that's like the thing is, whenever we have these new releases, and I just think the companies are just doing a bad job with this. I mean, it's hard for like a player collector. You can't be a player collector anymore. It's absolutely ridiculous. I have more cards, I think, in my Smith's PC from like current times than for like. This is just, he's not a big player. I mean, if you were like collecting, like, I think Stu was collecting Kirby Puckett, and I took a look, there was 500 cards made last year for Kirby Puckett, right? Not even an active player, right? So if you're collecting like Mike Trout, Like you got to focus on just certain cards. And I think as like a collector, it's hard to do that, right? You want to complete things. You want to get all the cards of the rainbow. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Sean Tieford sent me a care package, and he knew I was a McCutcheon fan, and he sent me all these Andrew McCutcheon cards, parallels, numbered, like everything. And I mean, they fill up like an entire BCW shoebox, and that's not even a fraction, not even a tiny fraction of the cards they made for that man.
Dude, there's some they're firing back at me in the chats. We got Peeps saying centering was a big deal in the early 80s. Look, I've never said centering was never a big deal, but what I do say is it wasn't the market. Centering is the market now. Centering wasn't the market then. The collectors that were into centering then were few and far in between.
I've always been into centering. My first thing is surface. That's the most important thing to me. That's the picture. That's the
I think
picture.
that's it.
And then centering was always second.
I think that goes without saying, though. Maybe not, John, but I feel
like there was a whole contingent of people that all they cared about was sharp corners. So they were a little different than me.
That's true. That's
true. Like
I
was like razor sharp. Like corners were third on my list. You know, it was always surface, clarity, you know, then centering, and then corners. For me, everybody's different.
Well, you were ahead of the game. You know, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, I showed my 1959 top set, and somebody commented, because most of those cards, the majority of them I got when I was young, and like really young, at my flea market. And for whatever reason, I had access to a lot of 1959 tops. And I went through my set, and somebody commented, they were like, these are really so well centered. Were you into that growing up? And quite truthfully, at that time, I didn't think I was. I don't ever remember caring about centering growing up, ever. Not until I got, older, that I just liked the way it looked. That's all. And certain sets, the centering doesn't matter to me as much as other sets. Like if it has a big, thick border,
tops.
Then you really notice it,
Yeah.
But some cards, you don't notice it all that much. Like for me, like the 53 tops, I don't really notice centering as much as I do with other cards. But like the 54, they would always cut off the names, and I would never buy those cards. I didn't have a single card unless I got it from somebody that had any kind of name cut off whatsoever. I never bought any of those. I don't remember doing that intentionally, but when I went through my cards, I had none of them. So I must have.
Peeps,
Dan, what's most important in a card to you?
When I first started collecting, it didn't really matter, right? So, I mean, everything was pack fresh. And so you knew the card was in good condition, right? So,
yeah.
Especially like Upper Deck. That's like when I really started first buying baseball cards was the 1990 set. And I mean, there's certain cards you look back now, like the Juan Gonzalez, that rookie card is always top to bottom off centered. But when I got it, I didn't really care. And when I got back into the hobby, 2020, I think because grading, I got into that. And really, I think I was just looking for sharp cards. And PSA didn't care back then for like 2020. Like they would give 9s on cards that had horrific centering. Just as long as everything else was nice about the card.
Yeah, because pack fresh was like the main thing back then.
That was it.
Yeah. Which made sense. If it came out of the pack and it was in pack fresh condition, that's a near perfect card. That's how it came out of the pack. That has totally changed now.
Look, I'm buying off center cards now because the center ones in the big dollar cards are just I think they're worth it. I think the off-centered cards I'm buying today, I don't think they're going to grow. They're only going to grow, like you always say, John. Put your money. I mean, you don't care about all this, but you do say this. You say, the card should hold the value. The card itself should hold the value. So buying these off-center cards that I'm buying now and these iconic cards, I'm not buying them because the centerings, I'm buying them because I want the card in my collection, and I think the card will hold its value. And if it card goes up, it will go up, but it won't go up as much as a dead centered copy. So when I'm buying these off-centered cards now, I'm buying them because they're a discount, and I can't afford a perfectly centered 52 Willie Mays Bowman card anymore. I just don't have it in me to spend that kind of money on it, where I can still take my time and get a centered 1961 Hank Aaron card. The premium isn't there. So I'm just diverting when things start going that way. I still think it's worth it. If I had the money, I would still go for a dead center card that will appreciate the most in the future, in my opinion. I mean, I know we're all over the place right now, but this all has to do with us growing up and how we started collecting and our morphing, like changing through the years.
Well, it's not only that, it's some of that, but it's also that we are on YouTube seeing everybody, seeing their cards, hearing their opinions, having everybody critique everything about the card, where you're almost embarrassed to buy a card that's not great looking or not perfectly centered. You know what I mean? I think that's why people tear their cards apart. It's almost like a defensive mechanism. Let me tell you how shitty this card is before you look at it and think of that yourself. You
do think that. I don't think that. I think maybe some people share their cards like that, but others, I mean, myself in particular.
Well, I shouldn't say. Okay, I'm being dramatic.
I know.
But let me. What I'm saying is, I think it is a defensive mechanism.
Yeah.
Where you want to say, let me point out all the flaws to you before.
Yeah, because I see them. Don't worry, I'm not blind. I see.
Yeah, because here's the flaw. Here's this flaw, but I love it.
Good point.
I wouldn't want another one.
Yeah.
But I just show the card. You can rip it apart if you want. I'm sure I show lots of cards nobody else would want, but I just don't feel the need to trash my cards.
I mean, we could argue about this all day. Well, it's not an argument. It's a conversation of, I like condition. I've liked condition since I was a kid. Hence all my cards being in plastic. I know Dan likes condition. You do too, obviously, John. So that's why I like talking about it. That's part of the reason I got on YouTube.
Yes, I'm not faulting you or anybody else for doing it.
I know that. I'm not. Trust me, if anyone's making a fool of themselves tonight, it's been me. So
you're not making a fool of yourself.
I am just.
We're getting cranked up. Let's get into this. Let's get into this subject. The three of us used to grade a lot, and now, even though I know Dan, you grade somewhat, but and Dylan too, but mostly we've moved to the MagPros.
Yeah, baby.
We've moved away from grading in a big way, and we're not alone in that. There's a lot of people that have moved away from grading. Dan, why'd you move away from grading?
PSA. I mean, they bought out SGC, which kind of upset me. SGC graded vintage, and they were very fair, consistent. And I think this is the big problem with grading is even PSA was, I thought they're really good from like 2020 to 2023. What happened, I think, is they got too big, right? Because when you set in cards, I think in the past, there was like probably 4 or 5 graders grading cards. And now you don't even know what state your card is going to when they grade it. They have grading places all over. They can't manage their hundreds of employees that probably go in and out on a weekly basis. So I think that was the big thing, is just being inconsistent. I've been using CGC recently quite a bit, just because the prices are just better. I mean, with all the discounts, things like that, like $10 a card. But I'm still grading things like this, which are silly for my Wheaties wall in the back.
Do you know anything about their graders? Like when somebody says I grade with them because I like their holder, or I grade with them because they're cheap. Like, do you know anything about their graders? Do you like the way they grade?
I started with them in the really beginning, not the green label, but a little bit after that. You kind of know with grading, like what the company's like. So like PSA, I used to send them cards that were sharp, right? If they're off-centered, they go to PSA. SGC, centered cards, right? So you'd always send those to SGC to get the higher grades. And CGC, they were very strict on surface in the past, but they were if you had like a nicked corner, they would actually be very lenient on that. It's actually more because Andy Broom was the lead grader vintage at BVG for Beckett.
Okay.
So you kind of can figure out how they grade the cards, and they tend to all be pretty consistent. And I kind of looked at the card and I kind of like, oh, this would get a grade at SGC, PSA, or CGC, and it would get that grade. Now I have no idea what happens at PSA. It is like plus
That is
minus
so
2 grades.
savvy the way you worked it, like to get the best grades,
Yeah,
because you knew what the card was and who would give it the best grade, right?
yep, absolutely.
It's a bit of a game.
It is a game now.
Oh yeah.
So Dylan, why did you move more to Mag Pros than grading?
Oh man, this one guy I know, wise man, like dare we call him the president? You know, he said something that I'll never forget. The smartest time to grade your cards is before you're going to sell them. And you say this because we never know who's going to be in the lead. We never know what kind of technology is going to be around. We never know what is going to be going on in the future. And all these cards have been graded in the past now seem to be having to be graded again, you know, like to get top dollar, or you have to send them in to get a sticker with a gold label. All of that makes sense to my brain in a way that things change, and the more technology, the things are gonna change, and they're gonna continue to change. So for me, man, I'll buy them graded all day long, but I'm not going to send anything for grading unless I'm going to sell it. I just don't have. Now, to be fair, as Carlos, to be fair, I think that if I have a card that has a potential, I have some modern cards that I've graded that were 10s, and if I have a potential where they might get a 10 and I might sell the card, I might send it in to PSA. If it comes back at 10, I will debate whether to sell it or not. If it comes back at 9, back in my collection. But that's only because I had an intention to possibly sell it. So you could write it down. You could put anything. You could write this in stone. If I had a 10 Commandments, Devil D's 10 Commandments, I'd be etching this in stone right now. Thou shalt not send a card in for grading unless you're going to sell it. Why? Because we have these Mag Pros that we can do our absolute own grading. And I love information like PSA, and I love more information. I can do it myself. And if you don't, you can do it like Mangini, you can do it like Lou Rock, you can do it like everybody else who just wants to have the tag, their name up there, whatever you want. One touch. I'm never going to grade a card again until I want to sell it. Pure and simple.
Yeah, it's
Been like
funny
that for
when I
quite a long
started
time.
doing. I started showing my cards in Mag Pros, and little by little, I would see all these videos. People would have at least some, and I would put "Welcome to the club" on their videos. Here's when I stopped grading. It was around 2016, I think. I went out to LA, and I was having dim sum in LA, and outside of the restaurant there was one of those boxes with the local paper.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
had been grading with PSA. I always preferred SGC. I graded more with SGC, but I would always I was a member of PSA. I would get the magazine. It was a fabulous magazine, except every card in it was a 10, right? They'd show you a set, everything was a 10. Brainwashing you. So I would get the submissions, you got what, 15 or 16 free submissions, and then I would send others and stuff. So I'm there and I get this newspaper and there's an ad for a PSA grader. And it says $13 an hour, no experience needed. And that was the last time I sent the PSA. I'm like, I am sending my rare vintage cards to people who have no experience? Like, why am I paying for this service? I am a complete moron for doing this. That's
I
the way
love
I
that.
felt.
I love when you say that too. I mean, it makes sense. I just never thought of it in that way, John. I wouldn't have. That's what they get paid to do. I don't care what they get paid. I don't care if they're less experienced. None of that mattered to me. It just never crossed my mind. I get it now.
I don't know. To me, it's
Makes
like
sense. Makes
I
sense.
have a problem. I have a problem with my car, and I'm a mechanic. But
Yeah.
I send it to somebody who's been a mechanic for a month
Makes
instead of
sense.
me doing it. You know what I mean? Like that's the way
Yeah.
I view it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's right or everybody views it that way. That's the way I view it. I'm sending these cards. They've never even seen some before. Like
Yeah.
they couldn't have. You know how many sets are out there, and you know how often they mislabel, grade fakes, and you just know they don't all know what they're doing.
I'll
I love
Rick and
it.
actually,
I love
Rick
it.
and I show all kind of. There's all kind of mislabelings that go on out there. They don't even know what the set is. They mislabel, put a different set on it because they don't know.
Yeah.
I'll actually
Dan,
add
Dan,
one thing.
Dan, Dan
I got
changes every day. He's like, I'm grading, never grading again.
Yeah.
I'm grading, never grading again.
Yeah.
However, the PSA
He has a
won't.
love-hate relationship.
And this is the reason I will not grade again with PSA. So I had a submission. This card got a 5. And the thing is, like, I'm like, what's going on here? And I got like 5 different 5s in my submission. And 5 of the cards had the same bend in the same corner.
They
Right.
get it.
And I would never have missed that. Right. I mean, I send in hundreds of cards and I look at them, I know. And I don't know if they're like feeding them through machines or whatever they're doing, but they're like bending corners. And I've been buying like cards like from PSA, like PSA 5s. And I'm kind of like, this card looks perfect. And then it just has that little bend in the corner. So they're doing something.
Yeah. I've heard George, my friend, our friend George from Diamond
He's got
Yard, you
some
know,
stories.
he does a lot of selling, and man, he has some nightmare stories of stuff they've done to his card. Like good cards. Good cards. I always ask him, well, why do you continue to send to them? And I already know the answer, because if you want to sell them for top dollar, they got to be an PSA holder, and you just have to take the risk that they might damage it. That's just the way it is. They control the entire hobby, and if I ever leave the hobby, it'll be because of that.
You're giving them too much power, John. They don't control the hobby.
They certainly do.
No, the market controls the hobby, and they've earned the place that they have on the totem pole.
No, you're right about that. You're right about
they've
that.
earned it.
It's
They're the best.
collectors.
They've
It's the
been the
collectors
best.
that give them the power.
Yeah, and they've earned the power to a point.
I don't agree that they're the best. I think
Okay,
most
well-
vintage collectors would tell you, when you're talking vintage cards, that SGC was way better. SGC grades cards, they don't even know what they are. You know, like
fair enough.
Bond Bread, for instance. There are certain things that SGC will slab or grade that PSA never would. And now that they're merged, that's what's going to happen. But I think if you talk to most vintage collectors, they feel more comfortable sending their 1909 cards, most or many.
I agree. Yeah.
Now, if you're sending them, 2025, I mean, anybody could grade those. Anybody with a microscope.
I agree. Good. Yep. Can't argue there. I mean, this community is SGC, and they love SGC. They love those. Once they change that flip to the tuxedo with a giant number from space, this community went bonkers for SGC. Thou love SGC, man, but I know
you've always hated them.
I just think they're just look like garbage numbers. You're the number hater of all guys. When I look at my wall,
I was not a fan when they went to the big giant number. I was not. But now, if you look at the modern labels compared to the old ones,
yes,
now that you see the moderns all the time, the old ones look bad to me.
Well,
I got used to the new ones.
They look dirty.
But I don't like any. Clean. I don't like any of them because, they put that number. It's this big. It's bigger than the damn card.
It's insane. I look at this wall. All I see is cards, but then the SGC ones, all I see is a number. It makes me so mad.
You know what I do now is I just take the SGC and I put my own label over top of that stupid ugly number.
Yeah, I like that. That's sick. That's good.
Yeah, it looks way better that way. and it's more uniform.
Yeah, it looks good.
So I had a 33 Sport King Babe Ruth, and I put my label on it, and I posted it, and you could clearly see it's in an SGC slab, but people were like, I wouldn't trust that card. That's a fake. And I'm laughing my ass off because it's in an SGC slab. All I did was put my label over the flip. Because in the modern hobby, anything that's not in a slab, everybody, I don't care what you post a card. Crack open a PSA card, an SGC card, and post it on Facebook or whatever and ask opinions. And half of them will tell you it's fake.
Man, we can go here's a good
Everybody's
discussion.
paranoid.
Here's a good discussion because Dan's on here. Dan's done well with buying raw cards and grading them and selling them. I'm a full advocate of the fact that, look, I get the fact that there's dealers and there's people like Dan that really can find some epic raw vintage cards and get them graded, and they've gained. But for the most part, for me, my experience, and like the average collector out there, to me, the best deal, the greatest thing that ever happened to the hobby is grading, because it brought the prices down on most vintage cards. It brought the prices down, except for the 8s, 9s, and 10s. You know, the prices have come down over the last, or at least stayed relatively the same for so long, because the grade really keeps it low. And
I don't
think
know.
the
I
best
see
deals are
cards.
graded.
I see cards that'll be graded a 3 or 4, and they'll sell for twice as much, or than a raw version, just because they're in that slab.
Is it a great? I don't believe.
I mean,
that.
it doesn't look better.
That.
I'm talking.
I don't believe.
Go on to eBay and look.
I watch cards. I watch cards all the time and all the time in ungraded form and graded form, and I just don't. When I see a good looking card, if I find a good looking comparable card ungraded, I just use Greg Morris as a reflection point right here. Like, Greg Morris ungraded cards go for more than the graded.
You can't go by that. His cards sell for twice as much as you can get them from anybody else.
If you're
that's another group of people that are brainwashed, or I don't know what's going on there. I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything, but when I'll get outbid there by a long shot. I just got outbid on 2 cards right now. And I go and I find it for a much less better copy.
Already
oftentimes graded
in a slab.
Sometimes graded, sometimes not graded. But you cannot go. All I'm saying is Greg Morris is not the comp. That is not the normal comp.
It is the comp.
It isn't.
Someone who doesn't trust everyone. I don't trust everybody.
You go to the most expensive place to get your comps? Like, go to Kit Young. Like, compare other dealers.
Anyways. I don't use comps at all.
Go to other. They sell for way more. I don't know why, but they do.
Because they're
not always graded accurately either. I can assure you of that.
Absolutely not.
I've gotten cards that were not what they said they were.
Well, we watch Drew clean cheap shots all the time. He shares Greg Morris cards. It's where he buys them, and they're 90% of the time not correct.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like Dean's, I trust. Dean's is pretty accurate. I've found with all the cards I've ever gotten from them, they're very accurate as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, Dan.
So, finding cards when I do this, like, it's always buy it now, and that's how I buy. I never get involved in the auctions. People overestimate conditions of cards all the time. So usually when they go in auction, they will go above the graded version. But when I buy it now in ComC, I find some killer deals. But I search a lot. It's a lot of time. So when I go to ComC, yeah. So is my time worth, right, the money that I'm saving, right? Probably not, right? But it's fun for me to try to find that gem, that card that kind of sneaks through, right? So,
well, in all fairness to what I'm saying, is I search for cards that I can't go through 3 pages. Like, there's not going to be 3 pages of them. You know, there's going to be a handful. So I don't have to go looking that far. But it just blows my mind how many times I'd get outbid, and then I go and find a better looking copy or a higher graded copy for far less. And it's on there, it's on eBay for everybody else to search too. Because it'll go too high. And I'll be like, I'm not paying that. And I go looking because I really want one. And yeah, it's like,
Well,
thank God I got outbid because I just saved a lot of money.
You just proved my point, John. To me, the best deals are the ones that are already graded. You know, for regular cards. I'm not talking about rare stuff or anything.
No, I didn't say they were all graded or ungraded.
Well,
they're both.
You said that most of the time, a lot of times, the ungraded stuff seems to go for more than the graded stuff. To me, guy like Dan.
Well, that was a separate conversation we had earlier. Okay. Yes,
you're going to spend so much time in those bins and in those boxes and on CompC searching for one that's ungraded that looks good.
I tell you this, Dylan. Do this exercise.
I won't do it.
Go find a Willard chocolate card. Find one that looks, really sharp, and then find one in a 1 and see which one that's graded in a 1 and see which one sells for more. Because the whole world is paranoid of cards because, like you, they won't touch it. They only touch plastic.
So John, for the rare cards, like the pre-war stuff, I would have more confidence buying a raw pre-war card than I would a raw Topps card, vintage card, because a raw Topps vintage card, if it looks really sharp, I'm super suspicious. If I'm buying a pre-war card, most likely it's already banged up. I don't care if it's graded or not. It's going to go through eBay authentication, which it's a love-hate relationship. But for certain things, if we had a choice as a buyer to send it there,
it makes sense for raw cards. It's the graded cards that don't make any sense. PSA has, you can look it up and see the exact card, right? You can see the card. It's in a PSA slab. You're buying from a dealer you trust. Why does it need another authentication to tell you that the slab's real? I mean, why do they put it on their website then? If it's all bogus,
should be buyer's choice.
Absolutely buyer's choice.
Just have a button, buyer's choice. Send it to eBay authentication or not. Every seller has to do whatever the.
And there are ways around this too. There are ways around this.
Not anymore. PO box is done. They stopped that. That's why it's been so busy.
There are ways around this. And double listings, yeah. The thing is they will send the card to the buyer anyway. They don't send it back to the seller if it's miscategorized. So if you put 2 cards, they won't authenticate it. So if you sell a lot of cards or more than 1 card, they won't authenticate it, but it still goes to California. They say it's miscategorized and they send it to the buyer. Now, how do I know those 2 cards aren't fake? The other thing is if there's any kind of problem with the listing, and this happened to me buying this from Chris Sewell, and I didn't know it was Chris Sewell, or I would have reached out to him and tried to buy it directly because it had to go to authentication. They did not authenticate. Listen, this was miscategorized because it's a pop 3, and he accidentally put pop 1. And he was cool. Like, he reached out to me and said, hey, if you don't want it, I'll take it back. This is what happened. But they wouldn't authenticate it because he had just had one little error. So if you wanted to scam somebody, all you'd have to do is make a little error in your description and your listing, something like that. And I can't tell you how many times I get, it may be as high as half the time, I get miscategorized. Wow. And they just send it to me. And it goes to California for absolutely nothing. And these are graded cards.
Well, you play in a different world, different sandbox than me.
I didn't care that much. It was annoying until I had a super rare card stolen, and I'm still traumatized by that because I have never seen another one since, and I may never see it ever again. And it was stolen in the mail.
John,
Dan, there's something that you and I both say. We both say on multiple videos, and that is 99.9% of cards have never been faked. So why is everybody always worried?
Michael Jordan, Mickey Mantle. Like if you like take those away, like the
Yeah,
cards are going to be real.
maybe the 49 leaf Jackie. They
Yep.
fake that a lot. But there's not that many cards they fake, and certainly not realistically fake. Like you would have to not know what you're looking at on a lot of those. Like the 33 Gaudy fakes are terrible. The 33 Gaudy, you could see through the back. And you can't fake that. I don't think. I've never seen a realistic looking 33 Gaudy fake or a 41 play ball fake.
I have
Have
never
you?
bought a fake card, right? And I even buy cards that like I don't know anything about, right? So I bought one of these cards, right? So first time, and the reason I bought it raw is I wanted to touch it, right? And so I bought this for like $70, right? It was just sitting on eBay. And those are the type of things like I like to like investigate the printing quality, the card stock. So if I ever see these again, but I never bought a fake card. The only thing that I won't buy if it looks really nice is 1971 tops. And that's the
Yeah.
only thing I like if it looks perfect, like you cannot tell from pictures if it's sharpied.
No, you could tell when you get it home though. But
Yep.
yeah, from pictures, I agree with you. There's no way. Lots of people got fooled buying those. But when they're so sharp, you got to question it right off the hum-ha. I mean, it's kind of rare. But yeah, there's just so few. I mean, I don't know. But what I get a kick out of is people will be like, "Well, I just want to know that it's authentic," and then they'll buy an authentic slab for more. It's like, you know,
And you just got to look at the seller too on eBay. Like, so if they like start coming on like eBay and they have like 1953 Mickey Mantles and they have like zero feedback, like just stay away.
yeah, exactly. I saw a guy. He was posting on Facebook. This was a few years back, and it was 33 Gaudy autographed Babe Ruth, and he's like, I got a chance to buy this $600 from somebody. What do you guys think?" And that Babe Ruth is one that has been mass produced, with a fake signature. It's not even a lot. It's not even live ink. Like it's in the card, and you can get those by the 50 at a time. And the people that get ripped off are the ones who are trying to rip somebody else off. Because if you think somebody's going to sell you an autographed 33 Gaudy Babe Ruth for $600, you're trying to rip him off. And so maybe you deserve it. What do you think?
Go
I ripped people off in the past. I'm sorry. So I mean, I bought a 1952 Sam Usual. It was horrible pictures on eBay. It was just sitting there for like a week, and it was real. And like they had other 1952 Bowman cards, and I bought it for I think $50, right, for a 19, and it got a I think I got a 5 at CGC. And I'm by the way, that's the card. I am I sent it in to get reholdered because they now have CGC has the new holders for all the vintage cards. And all they did is they didn't take it out of the baggie. They just put it into a new slab and it pissed me off. So that thing is getting ripped out and I'm sending it to SGC.
I just got one of those baggies. I just showed it on a
Oh,
video, a 38 Gaudy,
it's
38
crap.
Gaudy. Oh my God, it's so awful.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move into a segment for the chat. Why don't you give us a trivia question or a topic you want us to address or a question that you want somebody to answer or all of us to answer.
John, there
Let's
was a
go.
good one. There was a good one earlier. Man,
what-
where was it? It was let the guy that doesn't have the yellow shirt talk.
So John, here's that stupid
That was probably Rick.
holder there.
Oh, you're 52. Stan the man is magnificent. I was like, ooh, I would buy that one.
You
all
know,
day
he
long.
grew up. So I'm from his area. So he was a local hero.
Oh, that's sick. Good
Yeah, he
guy
grew
to
up.
have as a hero.
Well, if you don't know, he grew up with the Griffey family. So Ken Griffey was from
I didn't know that.
they were from the same area. He knew him. He played football with his father. His father was a really
Really?
good football player down in the Mon Valley outside of Pittsburgh. And then Ken Griffey Jr., if you look on the back, it says born in Charleroi, PA. Stan Musial was from Denora, but they're right next to each other. Small little
I
old
had no
steel
idea
towns.
that the
Yeah, they're
Griffey's
both. They're both.
usual. That's
Imagine
cool.
that. Stan Musial and Ken Griffey Jr. being born in the same little tiny steel mill town.
That's nuts.
Two great hitters, man.
We got a nice
Do I?
comment.
Baseball collector. Come on, Mike. Do I like movies about gladiators? Well, kind of.
Did you see that nice comment from I'll let you read it. Media. That was a nice
Which
comment.
one?
Thank you. Seriously,
From
this
who?
panel of collector Okana.
Oh, I got it.
Okay. Seriously,
Oh,
this
thank you.
Yeah, that was really nice of you. Thank you. Well, next time we'll
Yeah. Orlando said he said a black light you could see color added on 71s.
Sure.
You know, there's another thing you can do a lot of times is you put the light behind the card, and on newer cards it'll shine through the front. The light will actually come through. But a black light is another way. If you do the black light, like if it's modern ink, it'll light up, and if it's vintage, it'll be dull. Those are two tests, but I haven't found them. To be honest, I haven't found that one to be 100% accurate, though.
God, did you guys see that comment? That guy's so on it. Whew, that's a good one.
Yeah, Jay, they use markers on that a lot. You know,
I was talking about baseball collectors comment.
About the gladiator?
Nah, Dylan is the man.
He wasn't there to stick up for you before.
Oh,
yeah, he wasn't here earlier. He wasn't here
Oh.
earlier when I was throwing base.
Mike,
oh no, he likes to destroy base cards.
Mike, are you drinking?
He should come on too. I was talking about destroying base cards earlier, so he can. That's why I'm the man.
It's fun talking cards, man. We all get passionate.
It's so fun.
We all have opinions. We all have different backgrounds. You know, I think the way you grow up collecting affects you for the rest of your life. It's hard to break some old habits.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's insane. And now we have friends to talk cards about. Like, it's kind of mind-blowing to really think about what's going on right now. We're all talking about these little pieces of cardboard that we just have this weird, deep infatuation with. It's a love. I love them. They give me
okay,
joy.
Here's a question. Here's a question for us. Situational adventures. Do you miss the pitcher having to bat in MLB, or do you enjoy the extra offense?
That's
all right, Grant.
question.
Thank you for your question. Who wants to go first?
Damn.
I mean, does it even matter anymore? Like the pitchers, like they only go 5 innings these days. Usually, the pitchers would go 8 innings, right? And then you'd have to play like situational, like at the end. But now these pitchers go 5 innings, and they would just probably get pinch hit for anyway, really quickly.
Dylan,
you want to answer first, John? Why don't you answer first? I'll go.
I want to answer first. I absolutely miss the pitcher batting. My mother could manage a team with a DH. There's nothing to manage. You don't have to maneuver and, do I stick with a hot pitcher or do I pinch hit for him? Like, there's a whole different dynamic to managing a team when the pitcher has to bat. I do miss that. It's a whole strategy. And I miss players actually running without an oven mitt. I miss that so much. God. And I miss catchers being able to block the plate. Now they have to go Olay.
Good.
I wouldn't miss it if I think they call that when they shouldn't call it. Like, I don't know. They call blocking the plate when I don't think it's blocking the plate.
They should not block the plate like they did, back in the day. I do not think that is necessary in a sport like baseball.
I think they went too far in the other direction. You have to kind of catch it and then dive over.
But if there's any question, breaking his leg, that was gruesome.
So there was that play in the World Series, and man, I thought they were going to overturn that call.
Dude,
because
if that guy would have been 3 inches sooner, they would have won the World Series. That guy blew it. He blew it.
well, I thought they were going to overturn the call because
Bad
I
base
didn't
running.
think it was blocking plate, but by today's standards, I did think it was blocking the plate by the modern rules. But anyway, it's a shame to win a game like that because somebody's in a bad position
Agreed.
or whatever.
Okay.
It's like it's like a bomb pass where you get a holding call or something. It's 3rd and 32, and you get a holding call, and they give you an automatic first down. It's like ridiculous.
I don't know this sport you're talking about. It sounds
Football.
super dumb.
If it's 3rd and 20,
sounds
I
really
don't care
bad.
what you do. You should be able to go punch the quarterback. You shouldn't get an automatic first down. That's ridiculous.
All right. Let me give my opinion, John.
Okay.
So playing video games when I was young, you know what we did when your pitcher, was tired or you have like 6 in your lineup playing baseball stars? You take the pitcher out and you put a hitter in because it's way more fun. I'm 100% okay with the pitcher not batting. It's a complete waste of an experience for the person watching a baseball game, in my opinion. I get it. It's strategy. It's been around a long time, all that. But as an enjoyment level, look, I mean, if we didn't have DH, then Shohei Ohtani would be a different player right now too, because there's a DH, right? There's guys that have lasted, their career has lasted longer because DH. It makes the game more exciting. The number 9 batter, wherever.
No one wants to see some guy way past his prime, all fat, batting 133 to pad some stats.
Absolutely not. That shouldn't go on as it is. I'm like if you have negative WAR 2 years in a row, you're out. You're gone. Unless you were hurt, you're out of here. But as far as like a pitcher coming up to bat, like remember watching Randy Johnson come up to bat? It was like watching like Big Bird come up to bat. Like, what is the purpose in this? Why?
Yeah, but there were some good hitting pitchers too. How about you would have missed out on Rick Wise throwing a no-hitter and hitting 2 home runs, or Jake Arrieta shutting out my Pittsburgh Pirates, shutting him down in the playoff game,
is that
and
2
then hitting
games
a home
so
run,
far?
And then hitting a home run just to throw salt on the wound.
So what? 3 games we missed out in the last 40 years.
We're going to move on to another question because you and I will never agree on this.
As a Yankee
Let me tell you
fan,
about
though,
all the games
I grew up
where
with
the
the
pitcher.
DH, so I don't have any. I don't really even care.
Yeah, I know. And you know what else? Baseball players shouldn't wear shorts like they did, like the White Sox.
Is there baseball players wearing shorts?
Yeah, what year was it? The White Sox did it. Bill Veeck, he would always do these publicity stunts.
Wow, that's amazing.
And one year they wore shorts. How the hell are you supposed to slide in shorts?
Well, the girls had to wear shorts during their 10 years, so.
Arrieta was a beast during that. Oh, man, that year, he was unreal. He was unhittable.
So I think Mike wants to know who's going to make the Hall of Fame.
I stopped following it because I disagree with it so much. I think, go ahead. Dylan, who's going to make the Hall of Fame?
Okay, so, I mean, like, if anyone knows me, Hall of Fame means nothing to me. I, don't care. I've never even thought of the Hall of Fame before YouTube. Don't care who makes the Hall of Fame. If you're asking me, I don't think they're going to let Bonds guys in, so I think it's going to be anyone but the steroid guys. Oh, they already let steroid guys in. Oh, they already let Dave Ortiz in. Fine. They don't have to continue to make this mistake by letting cheaters into the Hall of Fame. When I was a kid going to school, if I cheated on a test, that test should have been failed. If I got caught, you're out. If you didn't get caught cheating, I guess Bonds, they didn't technically get caught during their prime, but I still think it is cheating. I think they're done. I'm not into it, but I really don't care.
Okay, the question wasn't about steroids. Dan, do you have any opinions on
part of it?
I want them to let him Bonds. And so it really, for me, I think it's the Hall of Fame. It's like, who's famous, right? So we know these names. We know Bonds. We know McGuire. We know Sosa. Let them in. Let them all in.
Going with the museum.
I am
vintage oddballs deal. Though it's a museum.
Well, I'm going to say something. and Mike, baseball collector, you're going to agree with me, but other people will adamantly disagree. But to me, until they let Bonds, Clemens, Shoeless Joe, and Pete Rose in, I think it's a joke.
Well,
Dylan, you disagree.
nah, I mean, some guys I would let in. I'd let Shoeless Joe in. I would let.
All I
Pete
have to
Rose in.
say is the Hall of Fame is never the good guy Hall of Famer. There'd only be 10 people in there.
Look, to be honest with you,
You know
it's
how many?
really.
Do you know how many people are in the Football Hall of Fame that took steroids?
I'm not that passionate about it. I could flip in 2 seconds. I'm not that passionate about it. It doesn't really affect my.
Yeah.
I'm not Mike Moynihan. I don't. The Hall of Fame isn't my thing. I never thought of Ted Williams as being in the Hall of Fame. I collected Ted Williams because to me he was a legend, and he was like a god. He wasn't real. I collected Jimmy.
I'm the same
he
way.
wasn't real. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know Roger Maris wasn't in the Hall of Fame until I got on YouTube. I thought Roger Maris was in the Hall of Fame my entire life. I thought the guy was a legend.
100% he should be in.
Changed the
Let
game.
Roger Maris in.
People on the other side will tell you he's already in there because they have a picture of him.
So I'm not like
if you say that the Hall of Fame is a museum and it should include all these great players, they'll say, well, he is in there. They have a picture of him.
There we go. Rick wouldn't say that though.
Well, Mike and I agree. I know we're more big Hall guys.
I'm a big Hall guy too. If I had a choice, I'd let a lot more guys in.
But honestly, I don't care about the Hall anymore. It's gotten so, and the thing about baseball fans is they're so angry and rude if you talk about it. Like they get so violently angry. I can't tell you how many people I had to block on YouTube. I put together a video and it went viral, especially after he got in, and during the lead up to the vote. And all it said was something about the Cobra reconsidered. And I put together a whole spew of clips of him and, him on the news and him playing and him in the World Series. I didn't even make an argument that he should be in the Hall of Fame. I just said the Cobra reconsidered. And the hate comments that came at me to tell me he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Guys,
I don't know why people are like this.
Guys are way more. People are not just guys. People are so passionate about players and careers and teams. I don't give a crap about any of that. I've always just been a card guy. Like I didn't even know. I only knew Topps and Bowman before I even got on YouTube. I didn't even know what a 54 Franks card was until I listened to Mike Moynihan talk on his Golden Age of Cardboard. I never got out of the hobby. So a lot of guys will look at me like I'm crazy, but I wasn't going to card shows and stuff. I just Topps and Bowman. So with the people thing too, like the team thing, man, I'm an Angels fan. So my Angels always suck. So I don't have that passion for the players and the teams. I have a passion for the history. Yeah. I read more books probably than anyone in this entire community because I love that aspect of it. But I don't care about the team. I don't care about other things. It's weird. Like collecting's cool because guy like me can care about this, guy like somebody else can care about that, and so on and so forth. But man, people who love their team and players, man, they go like bloody nails over their teams. I mean, people lose sleep. Like Lou Rock, he loses sleep when the Yankees lose and stuff. I'm just like, I wouldn't even leave like. If the Angels were in the World Series,
yeah, like they haven't won enough in his lifetime. Poor baby.
Yeah,
be a
poor
Pirate
baby.
Fan.
Yeah, seriously, I'm an Angels fan. Yeah, guys like that.
MLB needs to pull the team. He doesn't even try to win. He's a farm system for the rest of the league, and it's shameful. It's shameful they will allow an owner like that to own a team and hijack an entire city for 30 years. It's a shame. It's an absolute shame.
Dylan, you did lose sleep, though, when Cal was getting close to Judge, though.
Oh, well, I didn't lose any sleep. Absolutely not. But I looked at the stats every day, and Cal Poopy kept catching up, and I'm like, This is ridiculous. The guy's batting like 260. Oh, he's playing catcher, the hardest position. It is not the hardest position. It is the most physical position. The hardest position is shortstop, guys. It's the most athletic human being on the field is at shortstop. The catcher is the most physical position. If it was the hardest position, you wouldn't see the guys that you see physically playing catcher that play catcher. Okay, it isn't the hardest position on the field. I respect it as a position. I respect it as you're getting beat up on a daily basis. You're putting your time in. You're going to work 9 to 5. But it isn't the most technical position on the field. I mean, I know less about baseball than most of you guys like watching it, but I still have my opinion.
Did you ever play catcher?
I played catcher. Absolutely played catcher. It was the most physically demanding, but it was not the most difficult position on the field. Sorry.
Well, it depends on your pitcher. When your inner thighs get all bruised
You're
up.
a professional pitcher. You're not throwing balls in the dirt every day.
All right, let's move on from catcher. Okay, all right.
Everyone's gonna yell. Mike
says he
loves catchers, so
Mike says he doesn't get. Mike says he doesn't get angry when people don't agree with him. He just thinks they're dumb. Dylan, you're the same way.
For sure, then.
You're the same way.
That's true.
Dylan thinks everybody that doesn't agree with him is dumb.
John, you're funny.
Oh my God. All right.
Thank you, Orlando. Orlando's the best. You know, I know. Me and Orlando.
Come on, Orlando. Who would you take,
Orlando?
Who was more athletic, Rafael Belliard or Roberto Clemente? Come on. Those shortstops weren't all super athletes back in the day.
Just because a team puts someone in the wrong position or someone been placed in the wrong position their entire
Rafael
life
Ramirez
doesn't mean they're less athletic. But the guy who the coach thinks the most athletic should play shortstop because that is the most critical position on the entire field.
Growing up, that was the way. Like until you get to the pros, then it's different.
I say still now pros, but I don't know.
Do you know every player in Major League Baseball? I would venture to say nearly every player in Major League Baseball played shortstop growing up.
For sure. Absolutely. Because they were the most athletic during their time.
Johnny LeMaster. There you go. Dylan, how athletic was Johnny LeMaster? How about Mario Mendoza?
I don't even know who that is. Never heard of him. Is he a football player?
Oh, my God. Did you even collect cards in the 70s and 80s?
I was not alive in the 70s, guys. I didn't collect commons of 1970s.
In the 80s.
I collected my guys in the 80s. I didn't collect common players. I've been saying this since I got on. I'm not pretending anything.
I will say this.
The guys
Somebody said Gary Sheffield should get in. I can't disagree with that. He should probably be in the Hall of Fame. Man, he didn't
look like he did steroids, like big one.
He was good, man. Gary Sheffield was good.
He was fun to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, things hurt players that I don't think should hurt them. Like if they played for a bunch of teams, or if they didn't, I don't know, they didn't play 20 years. They didn't rack up those stats. They weren't a fat DH racking up their stats at the end of their career for 4 years.
I think that's changing. I think that's because of the analytics. I think that's definitely going to change in the future and changing now. The voting, just like the MVP, is much more reasonable. Like MVP is supposed to be most valuable player. So people who voted for Cal Poopy didn't look at WAR. They didn't understand. Yeah, the most.
What is your problem with Cal Raleigh?
He's trying to break Judge's record, and I collect Judge. That's my problem. Pure and simple.
I mean, Cal Raleigh had an amazing year.
Amazing year, but he wasn't the MVP. He wasn't the most valuable player for the league. Judge was the most valuable player based off of analytics, and I believe in analytics. Sorry, that's what I believe in. I don't believe the eye's great, but
and you're the same person. You would have probably
than anybody else.
You would have probably gone ballistic if Aaron Judge didn't win it the year he hit over 60 home runs.
What year did he Judge?
Yeah.
But if he didn't win it,
Yeah.
well, if he didn't
Did he win it that year?
If he didn't win the year that he got,
I'm
cut his
assuming he won it
record,
that year.
I wouldn't be
I can't
collecting his
remember that
cards,
far
so
back.
I wouldn't be rooting for him. So, to be fair, John, I root for guys I collect. That's how I do. I don't collect very many modern guys, so but three guys.
You don't like the
two
big
guys,
dumper?
I don't like Big Poopy. He's out. He's out. I don't
All
like
right.
Seattle. I've never liked Seattle. So,
All right, Dan, any last thoughts?
No, I want to answer that one question though about the players shaking hands. So
Oh,
why
yeah,
don't
yeah.
the baseball players shake hands? Well, I think we could just say like players like Jorge Posada, right? Didn't they urinate on their hands like all the times to toughen them up for the calluses? Right. So you don't want to be shaking anybody's hand after that.
Not if they're doing that.
they don't shake hands anymore?
But, I mean, they wear those oven mitts, so their hands are all nice. They're probably manicured.
Probably are. Except for the shortstop because he's getting so
Because
many
he's so
balls
athletic.
into him.
Yeah.
So athletic. He's jamming everywhere.
I want to tell you something. I would play shortstop all day before third base. You
Oh.
get some of those balls hit to you at
Oh.
third base.
Deadly. Well, because you're
Deadly.
talking as an adult. It's like softball, you play third base, you're asking to go to the hospital.
Even at softball.
Dude, no, definitely.
I remember I hit a ball in
in
soft. I hit a ball. I played fast pitch. I hit a ball, and you know the third baseman is so close to you, and so I like I would bunt a lot. And one day I was
in
like
softball, you would bunt.
Like
you would bunt in
yeah,
softball. John,
yeah, I
come
was
on.
elite.
You're off the team.
Yeah. Oh my God! For Christ's sake, do you know when you're playing fast pitch softball?
Oh, fast pitch.
Sometimes you want to. I let off, and
Sorry,
I got on base all the time. So I've made like I was gonna bunt, and then I hit a line drive, and he didn't even react to it. It went right by him and cut his arm, like the stitches cut his arm. Third base is so close to home plate in softball. It's I would not want to play there. I played short, but I did not want to play third.
I played third base. So over here in Hawaii, where I live, there's some beasts. Like some baseball is huge over here, even on my island. And I played third base. I played 2 years ago. I think was my last game of softball I ever played. I hit a home run my last at bat. But I played third. They put me at third base, and we were playing on a little league field, and we were using double wall bats. It was the most scariest position I ever played in my whole life.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh, it was insane.
You have to react like that.
Disgusting
like that.
position.
It's a tough position. I have tons of respect for a guy like Brooks Robinson, man.
Me too.
Any good defensive third baseman. It's a tough position.
I do think instinct is much easier to react to than a shortstop position or second base as the ball is coming to you at a different speed.
Well, I would actually agree with you. I would actually agree with you because your instincts just take over.
Yes, they
like
take over.
You end up diving without thinking about diving.
Yeah, you look like a hero, or it looks like there was a hit.
Or you're too careful.
Yeah,
too careful and flub it. No, I agree with that. Instincts, you just do it. But that ball's coming 100 miles an hour at you. All right. Dan, did you want to talk tonight or no?
No, I'm good.
Well, I mean, the mistake is you had me on here.
Yeah, and I agree with Dylan there about Judge. He should have won it.
Thank you, Dan.
And he should have won it by more.
Yeah.
I didn't see what he won it by, but it should have been unanimous.
I think it was 17 versus 13 first place votes. So he got it was pretty close. Wow. And I think they want 1-2 for everybody's ballot.
Yeah, and I'm not going to argue against that. It's just that Dylan started talking smack on the big dumper for the whole second half of the season.
I did.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. How long have we been on here? Good time.
2 hours, 10 minutes.
Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in and putting up with our shenanigans. Dan,
that was fun.
It's a pleasure having you on and showing showing your face.
I know.
I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen you before. If you're not subscribed to Dan, you got to check him out. Cardboard and Plastic, great channel. He's Dylan and I both love his channel. And Dylan, Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. And you're going to see a lot of great centering and no other sports.
surfing cards, and
Hey,
bird card.
thanks, guys. This was fun.
That was fun.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, everyone.